I think we're seeing a lot of these birth pangs that Jesus spoke of, but we're also seeing this alignment of Russia, Iran, Turkey, and other countries forming this alliance against Israel.
With a divine hand guiding its destiny, Israel stands as God's chosen nation, woven into the tapestry of biblical prophecies. As ancient promises intertwine with modern challenges, the potential rebuilding of the Third Temple looms large, sparking fervent debates and igniting political tensions. With each discovery, from hidden archaeological treasures to ritual cleansing sites, the intricate puzzle of Israel's destiny takes shape. Get ready for a captivating exploration of what Israel has that can terrify the world. Without any delay, let's get into the video. The Bible makes it quite apparent that God chose Israel as the nation He would work with out of all the peoples on earth. Yet hear now, O Jacob my servant, and Israel whom I have chosen, God spoke via the prophet Isaiah. This was the country that God freed from slavery in Egypt, the country that God gave the land of Canaan, and the country through which the Messiah, Jesus, would come. Were these individuals unique in some way from others? This inquiry was answered by God Himself. Because you are a holy nation to the Lord your God, He has selected you to be a people for Himself, a treasured treasure above all the peoples on the face of the planet. He said to the ancient Israelites, "Since you are the least of all people, the Lord did not choose you or show His love for you based on your size. Instead, because of His love for you and His desire to uphold the promise He made to your ancestors, the Lord has rescued you from slavery and delivered you from the power of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt." Why did God pick Israel? Because God had promised Abraham that his offspring would become a mighty nation and rule over the country of Canaan. He decided to utilize the ancient Israelites because of Abraham's faith, which was a genuine faith that led to conscientious adherence to God's commands and commandments. God blessed him and his offspring. Isaac, a son of Abraham, and Jacob, a grandson of Abraham, both received this promise. God chose Israel in order for them to be a nation that serves Him. The descendants of Abraham are my friends, but you, Israel, are my servant, Jacob, whom I have selected. As previously mentioned, the Messiah, through whom all of the families of the earth would be blessed, will arrive via Abraham's lineage. God envisioned Israel as a role model for other nations, a people from whom they could draw crucial conclusions. God envisioned Israel as a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Other countries would observe that the Israelites were blessed when they obeyed God and punished when they defied God. Before the Israelites entered Canaan, Moses reminded them of this crucial idea. "As the Lord my God instructed me, I have taught you statutes and judgments, and that you may act accordingly in the land that you go to possess. Because of this, be careful to observe them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples who will hear all these statutes and say, 'Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.' For what great nation has a God as close to it as the Lord our God is to us, for whatever reason we may call upon Him?" It's crucial to remember that God meant for Israel to serve Him, to be His servant, and to be a benefit to other peoples. It's crucial to remember that God meant for Israel to serve Him, to be His servant, and to be a benefit to other peoples. Ancient Israel forsook God, which was unfortunate, but since they had the chance to serve God, they frequently believed they were better than other people. They seem to have disregarded God's instruction that they must obey Him and uphold the covenant that they made with Him in order to be a special treasure to God above all people. Key life lessons that everyone can take away from the ancient Israelites, God's chosen people, are found in Deuteronomy 10:13 and Mark 2:27. However, the holy days of God were profaned, and His weekly and annual Sabbaths were broken by His chosen people. As a result, their punishment was documented so that everyone may learn from it. In the New Covenant, God promises to write His laws on their hearts, putting them in their mind and writing them on their minds, which refers to the laws that Israel disobeyed. Jesus' sacrifice has taken the place of animal sacrifices, yet for Christians today, the commandments of God still apply. Consider the following crucial principles. On the seventh day of the week, there is weekly worship. God set aside the seventh day as a holy day for humans to rest and worship Him. Exodus 28:11, Deuteronomy 5:12-15, Luke 4:16, Acts 13:42-44, 18:4 all refer to this law of God as being one before the nation of Israel, being a component of Israel's worship, and continuing as the day of worship for Jesus and the New Testament Church. The Ten Commandments include the above-mentioned weekly Sabbath. Exodus 20, Deuteronomy 5, and 1 John 5:3 all mention that these good commands from God existed before the nation of Israel, were also given to ancient Israel, and were still followed by the New Testament Church. The yearly holy days of God Israel in the past observed These same annual feasts were observed by the New Testament church as well, albeit with deeper significance. The experiences of the ancient Israelites served as timeless illustrations of our rewards we might obtain for abiding by God's law, and the consequences that follow from breaking it. Paul stated in 1 Corinthians 10:11 that now all these things happened to them, the ancient Israelites, as examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the ages have come in reference to this crucial principle. The Old Testament welcomes non-Israelites. Even though God chose to engage with the ancient country of Israel, this choice did not prevent people from other nations or Gentiles from learning about and serving God. The ancient Israelites were commanded by God to treat persons of various ethnicities who settled among God's chosen people with respect. God stated, "And when a stranger dwells with you and wants to keep the Passover to the Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as a native of the land." The Passover is one of the observances that God commanded in both the Old and New Testaments, because it is forbidden to the uncircumcised. God added, "One law shall be for the native born and for the stranger who dwells among you," demonstrating justice for all. God later added in Exodus 22:21, "You shall not oppress or mistreat a stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt." The life of Ruth serves as a wonderful illustration of how God accepted non-Israelites in the Old Testament. Ruth was born a Moabite, yet she eventually learned to revere and obey God. After the untimely passing of her husband, Ruth informed her Israelite mother-in-law, Naomi, "Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth later wed an Israelite named Boaz and joined the lineage that God had chosen for Jesus. Rebuilding of the Third Temple. Is the temple's reconstruction currently progressing? International criticism of Israel's claims to the Temple Mount and other parts of Jerusalem is strong. Jews are not allowed to worship in Israel due to legal restrictions, and Muslims, especially the women in black, maintain a constant vigil to deter Jewish tourists. Furthermore, according to the Islamic authorities, there never was a temple there. However, recent developments have made it possible to recreate the temple in our day and help the temple movement realize its objectives. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, which Muslims believe was built by Abraham, is located on the site of a Jewish ritual cleaning site, which researchers unearthed decades ago in response to a claim that a Jewish temple had never been on the location. Muslims believe Abraham built the mosque. British archaeologist Robert Hamilton offered proof of this in a paper outlining his examinations of the mosque's foundations after it was destroyed by an earthquake in 1927. Hamilton's paper was published in the journal Antiquity. Underneath the floor of the mosque, he discovered a Jewish miqveh, which is a ceremonial pool used for purification. During the time of the Second Temple, Jews would perform religious rites, thereby immersing themselves in the water there before ascending to the Temple Mount complex. These discoveries, which were hidden in the records of the British Mandatory because they would offend Muslim officials, clearly demonstrate that the ancient temple was situated on the site of the present Temple Mount, which is revered as a holy site by Jewish people. The Sanhedrin has already taken the appropriate steps in order to restart temple services as soon as possible. The group has been working on a variety of projects, one of which is growing the forest that is described in the Bible in order to provide for the agricultural needs of the Third Temple. In the words of Rabbi Hillel Weiss, speaking on behalf of the Sanhedrin, when people think about sacrifices, they think about animals and blood. However, the majority of the sacrifices were from plants grown all around Israel. The temple served as a channel through which the people may communicate with the divine. One of the members of the Sanhedrin, Rabbi Richman, has been at the heart of an effort to bring the holy red heifer back to Israel. As it is detailed in Numbers 19, in order to cleanse Jewish people and make them ready to serve in the temple, the ashes of the red heifer must be combined with water. Between the time of the first and second temples, which is nearly 1,000 years, only 9 red heifers were ever utilized to generate the waters that were used to purify Jews. These waters were used to wash away impurities. According to the Jewish prophecy, the Jewish Messiah will bring the 10th one. Richman and other rabbis of the Temple Institute are giving halachic supervision and advice, and they are doing it in collaboration with an Israeli cattleman who is an expert in the science of animal husbandry. He is employing a strategy that calls for the implantation of frozen embryos derived from North American Red Angus cattle into Israeli domestic cattle in order to accomplish his goals. In order for a heifer to take part in the ritual of the red heifer, it must have been born in the land of Israel, and it must not have ever been yoked. This book is the culmination of many years of research conducted at the Temple Institute, where archaic religious writings and contemporary scientific practices were brought together. The Sanhedrin and the Temple movement hold reenactments of temple rituals as part of the training for Kohanim, members of the priestly caste. This instruction includes becoming familiar with the newly constructed altar of burnt offerings, as well as using ceremonial implements created especially for the Third Temple. This altar is unique in that it was made to be taken apart and rapidly put back together in its right permanent location. This is because the people of Israel are required to build an altar only on Mount Moriah, the Temple Mount, which is where the first altar originally stood. It will be reconstructed on the Temple Mount in due course, allowing sacrifices to be made there once more. Orthodox Jews who are committed to the cause, as well as the problems facing the world and the Jewish people, believe that rebuilding the temple is the only effective solution. While the temple movement continues to prepare plans for the reconstruction of the temple, the majority of its participants understand that political change is required to end Muslim rule of the Mount and grant Jewish access. This may be taking place right now. Israel's top court, in its decision opinion on the issue of the works on the Temple Mount, stated, "The reality on the Temple Mount is by no means simple," in response to a question about the location. "It's a very delicate and complicated issue. We own the Temple Mount. We therefore require a political action rather than a legal one." According to Daniel's prophecy of the 70th week, a future political figure, the Antichrist of Revelation 13, will make a false covenant with Jewish authorities that will result in the construction of the Third Temple. It is exciting to see these Third Temple preparations taking shape in the land of Israel as we eagerly await the return of our Messiah. Future of Israel. Many have pondered what awaits the descendants of the ancient Israelites who were taken captive for their transgressions and stripped of their power. Actually, the Bible shows that these people still have a promising future. That's all for the video today. We'll be right back with more such videos. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.